Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lion's Den podcast. Doing a little bit of a different opening this time. Not all the emotion and fireworks that you're used to seeing, and there's a very, very good reason for that. Since the last time we recorded, we learned of the very sad and very untimely passing of one of our collaborators on this podcast, one of the OGs, a true fan of Club León, but beyond any of that, more importantly, just a great friend who I had the pleasure of getting to know very well over the last few years. My partner in crime on a lot of my crazy trips. We're talking, of course, about Javier Urquieta. Some of you may be wondering why you haven't seen him on the pod in a while. Frankly, we were too. The news of his passing had not reached us. His passing was a few months ago, actually. It was in December of 2024 in his native San Diego, where he had been living and working for the past year or so. And for whatever reason, the news did not get to a lot of his seres queridos, as we should say, down here in Mexico until very recently, until last week. And so it was devastating news, to say the least. Javier was an incredible guy. He was, as I said, a great friend, a great Leon fan, a great human being, an encyclopedia of knowledge. Here on the podcast, he was famous for his many tangents, but I mean, there was an encyclopedia of knowledge in that brain of his. And so he was always, always, always a welcome contributor to any podcast or journalistic experience that anybody would give him space to be on. He just knew so much about so many things, not just about football, not just about Club León. You got to know the guy. You realized how multifaceted he was and how much he knew about so many things. And, and I think about the times we hung out together. Yes, there was a Club León context around that. But, once we would hang out together, I didn't even think about Club León that much. I was just hanging out with my friend. And it's just funny how these things work. I found this podcast by accident some 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago almost now. And Javi was just a part of it. For a while, he was just a face that I saw on a screen in cyberspace, and I didn't know anything else about him. And then it turned out that he and I, for a time, obviously Cody is now, but for a time, he and I were the only members of the podcast who were living in Mexico, who were based in Mexico, based in or near León. And so we built up a bond as a result of that. We started hanging out. I can't even remember the first time we hung out in person. I think I invited him to a match. Javi didn't have a fiera bono. He was always doing stuff. Whenever he was in León, it was for brief periods of time. He never, you never knew he was going to be here for how long. But when he was here, I made it a point to include him in my exploits as much as I could. And I think I must have invited him to a match. I can't remember. I'm ashamed. I usually remember everything about matches and details and everything like that, but I can't remember the first match Javi and I went to together. But we started hanging out a lot. We started seeing each other and all of that because I was looking for a space to share my experience with Club León and my knowledge about Club León in an English language speaking space. I felt like I had a lot to offer. And this podcast, I came across it. Javi was part of it. He was a face on a screen, and then he became a true friend, a dear friend. He accompanied me on many trips. Javi loved León. When he came to Mexico, he wanted to be in León. That was where he felt most comfortable. So he didn't know a lot of other parts of Mexico. So he was always very happy to accompany me to other places. We made it to Guadalajara. We made it to San Luis Potosí. We made it famously all the way to Puebla for a match that didn't end up even being played with fans in attendance. I will always remember that. We had that entire weekend we spent together. We took a trip to Puebla. We couldn't see our team play live when we thought we were going to, but we had a great time anyway. Took some pictures with Popocatépetl right behind us, which we weren't even supposed to get. We weren't even supposed to be up there. But it was the pandemic and nobody cared, so we just went up there. We took some great pictures, and I'll always have those and many other memories with Javi to cherish. And I just honestly I can't believe he was such a force of nature. He was a not the largest dude. He was a small guy. He couldn't have been. He was all of 5'7" maybe, but he had an amazing, huge personality. He was a big personality in a small package, and he was always a joy to be around. He never lacked a topic of conversation, whether that be about Leon, whether that be about anything else, about politics, about friends, about family, about anything. Javi was always there, and now he isn't. And it's a big hole in our Club León family. Fortunately, when I found out about it, I was able to spread the news a little bit, and the news made it all the way to the team, who shout out to El Pollo Gabriel, the community manager for Club León, who made the tribute to him, to our friend Javi, on the club's official pages. And that way, the news about his passing got out to everyone it needed to within the Club León community. He was a well-known figure, friend to many, not just to us, obviously, to others in the journalistic spectrum, the people who cover the club in and around León. Paco Vela, of course, knew him well. Among others, El Pollo knew him well. Sebas, the people who are affiliated with the team, they knew him well, and none of us had heard the news. And within a short amount of time, we were able to get the news out to everyone, and the club was able to make a tribute to him. And yeah, so we just wanted to take this time and this space to give a tribute to our fallen comrade, left us too soon. And Javi, you're going to be greatly missed. You were a great addition to this podcast. You were a great addition to my Club León experience and to my life in general. And everybody I was able to introduce you to outside of this spectrum ended up loving you. And you left a mark on everybody you met. So, buddy, you'll be missed. I know you'd want us to keep doing this podcast. I know you'd love Club León now, how they're playing. Sadly, you left us before the news of James Rodriguez signing with the club became official. So you never knew that he was going to be with Club León, but I know you would have loved that. You'd have loved everything about what's going on with Club León right now. You'd have also loved having a team in your beloved home city of San Diego, which just premiered in MLS this season. I know you would have loved that as well. Didn't get to see it. But I know you'd love a lot of stuff that's happening in the world right now around your interests and your passions. And we're going to miss you, man. We're really going to miss you. I don't know, without you, who knows if this podcast would have lasted as long as it did. You were the spark that kept it going for a time, and you're going to be missed. So before I rant on for too long, that's basically what I have about you, Javi. You won't be forgotten. Surely we're going to make references to you and talk about you long into the future. This isn't goodbye. It's an hasta luego. Wherever you are, hopefully you're watching us and enjoying Club León from another place. So that's what I got. I'll leave it to you guys if you have anything else to say about our dearly gone too soon friend Javier.
Thanks, Loy. Yeah, I think it was really hard to believe when the news hit us. We know Javi was doing a million things at once in his personal life, so when he would, go MIA a bit, we always knew he would come back and ready to pod. So I think it was just very surreal and very hard to believe. And like you said, had us been doing the pod for so long and connecting with each other and always chatting with each other. And I've got to meet with Javi a couple of times in Leon, one with you as well, and then the other time we went to the crazy Leon versus Pumas game, 3-3 game that I will always remember. So just very hard to believe. Everything you said is it's Javi. Always very energetic, always cracking jokes, super knowledgeable about Club Leon in every way. X amount of years he'll reference, campeonatos, important players. He'll remember, things that we kind of don't. But such a great soul, and it's devastating that he's not with us anymore, and it just feels very surreal that we know that he won't be back on the pod. But he will always be very loved and very missed, and like you said, we'll definitely be keeping this pod going and mention him whenever we can because he always, was part of this. So Javi will be missed, and yeah, I just still can't believe it.
Man, you guys pretty much put it all out there. That was our guy. He was the he was the spark. He was the funny one,
Yeah,
the encyclopedia, as Louis put it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, it's the I think the toughest part was having to find out 2 months after it had happened. That was probably the toughest part because yeah, he had gone MIA a couple times, but I don't know. It's just different. You never expect for somebody to be messaging you and interacting with you one day, and then a couple hours later he's just gone. So miss him, and I wish we could have spent more time together, me
yeah,
and Javi. Yeah, but at least I got to hang out with him. We watched our club win the Leagues Cup final. That's how I'm always going to remember him. He was there with his dad, and we had a beer. Louis was there. It was just great times. You know, great times.
Yeah,
Rest in
we
peace.
saw each other just very briefly outside the stadium, and then we went our separate ways to our different seats. But we made sure to record our pregame video. I haven't honestly gone back into my phone and found, I never delete anything. I've got a terabyte iPhone, so I never have to delete any photos or videos. And I probably have stuff with Javi dating back. Well, I know I have some stuff with Javi. I went back and found the videos of him celebrating the title in Guardianes 2020 when we couldn't see it in the stadium. We watched it together on La Madero. We went to some place on La Madero to watch it, and then we were right by the Arco de la Calzada to celebrate it when it went final. And I have some great videos, which I posted a couple of them on my tribute to him. But I have some great videos of him celebrating that title, and that was him. It was just sheer, genuine, unbridled joy. He just loved to see Club León do well, and that made him. It was the thing that made him the most happy. And but he was also so happy to be around any of us. He loved this community. He thought of this as a family, and because of him, partially maybe I'm a little bit more of a closed off person than he is, and so I started to think of it as a family too. And we had some great times together, and I probably still have that video we made in front of the stadium in Las Vegas before the Leagues Cup final. The three of us made the pregame video because we were the ones there. I probably
It's
still
out
have
there
that. I'll have to
somewhere.
find it. Maybe when I get around to it, I'll dig through all of my stuff and I could make some kind of video compilation tribute to him when I get around to that. That'll be a big project, but I can probably do that at some point in my life because I have all this content that I haven't gone back and through, partially because it's very painful to do so. But yeah, there's a lot of evidence out there to suggest that Javi, the person we knew, was exactly how we remember him, and and yeah, man, just miss you, buddy. Just really miss you.
yeah. I think it's unfortunate because we always had planned to get all of us together, but I think I'm very grateful that we all got to meet Javi, in our separate ways. So we still needed that one
Yeah,
big all of us together, but I'm very glad and grateful that we all at least got to meet Javi in person separately and in different groups. So we all got a taste of Javi that way as well. And obviously Louis, I mean, you guys, went through more things together as you guys, lived there together. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the weirdest thing. I was never a person to like want or need a traveling buddy. That's just not the way I do things generally. But with Javi, it was. He always added to the experience, and it's not always that way with everyone I go see matches with, to be quite honest. But with Javi, it was always that way. I'm a lone wolf in a lot of ways. I love going to my matches, but I just go. If I meet somebody, they're great. If not, I'll just go anyway. If I have to go to a match by myself, I will. But Javi was my Club Leon buddy. were, we had a lot of differences. We saw certain things differently. Different life experiences, different stories, different backgrounds. But when we were together, it didn't matter. We always found common ground. Part of that was Club León, but part of that was just the human experience. And so, Javi, thank you for showing me that having a buddy on my travels, having a buddy in my experiences can be very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Definitely. And with that, we will go ahead and talk about Club León, and we will, always be remembering Javi, and I'm sure we'll get to bring some clips back of him from old times from the pod, or just sharing just videos that we got to record with him in person. So guys, transitioning into where we at with Club León, which, like we said, Javi would be so stoked for León to be in the position that they are. Our last game against Xolos, I was able to make the trip, and I saw Louis, so I was very grateful. That I think it's just in this time as well that we got to see each other, from what happened, but also for a win at home. So with that, guys, Louis, talk to me. What were your thoughts about this Leon Xolos game?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. As well as we're doing, all of these matches are harder fought than you needed them to be. There were several reasons for that in this particular match. I mean, this could have, if they'd kept the calls on the field a couple of those times, this could have easily been a 4-1. This could have been our breakout scoring game, where we just put away an inferior opponent without, too much fanfare. But a goal that for me was completely legitimate by Jonder got called back. And then another penal got called back because almost in exactly the same play got called back. That also I don't believe should have, but looking at the replays they had available to them and given the call on the field. So, we could easily be talking about Leon cruising to a 4-1 victory. Obviously not cruising because they gave up the opening goal, which is never fun. And they gave it up in typical just descuido fashion. Xolos is not doing well, but they have some capable players on their team. If you give Kevin Castañeda an opportunity to shoot with no mark, he's probably going to score on you. That's exactly what he did. But to Leon's credit, they responded. Didn't have as many defensive lapses in the second half. I wouldn't say they saw the match out. They got their goal. They got their winner. I mean, that's just kind of been the story of the season. This team finds a way. They find a way to get the result and stay undefeated and usually win. Last few seasons, it's been the opposite. Any way they'll find to blow a match or to lose or to not get the result. Give up a Poncho Blanco howler in Toluca that takes 2 points away from the result. That's what that was going to be their MO this season. Call it the suerte del líder or whatever you want. They got good juju going or whatever it might be, but they're finding ways to get the job done. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And it's encouraging. Yes, I mean, I want to see León be able to win in more ways than they've shown us. Every single win on the season, which there's now plenty of them, but they've all been 2-1 wins. They've all gone down to the wire. The opponent's going to get a scoring opportunity that gives you a heart attack in stoppage time pretty much every single match, that they play, but they find a way to pull it out, which, Liguilla matches are often that way. They're very, very, they're close matches. They're tightly played. Nobody wants to give up too much. Everybody's on the defensive. And so, I mean, I think the way that León has been winning is very reminiscent of Liguilla matches. I think in the regular season, though, you'd still like to be able to see them play and win in more diverse ways. Like if you have a chance to put away a trash team, do it. Get up 2-3-0 in the first half, and then it's not even interesting anymore. I mean, sure, part of you wants to see an exciting match for 90 minutes and have it go all the way and get your money's worth and all that. But every once in a while, it would be fine for them to just score 2 or 3 early on an inferior opponent and see the match out. There really hasn't been any match like that this season, in spite of all the points we're amassing, and we're up to 26 points through 10 matches played. It would take a miracle at this point probably to not be in a top 4 position. I mean, I think that's what we're shooting for. I'm not too concerned. Obviously, it's nice to be the leader. It's nice to be at the top of the table. I'm not terribly concerned about finishing in that position. If we do, great. But of course, finishing in the top position is far from a guarantee that you'll win the title in this league. So I'm concerned about a top 4 finish. I think we've done everything one can possibly do through 10 matches, aside from winning all 10 of them, to basically guarantee us of a top 4 position in the table. And I think at this point, it's ironing out details. Can we win in different ways? Can we score more than 2 goals in a match? Referees or no referees affecting it. Can we be more versatile? Because we still have plenty of naysayers. Like, oh no, yeah, Leon's been leading for a while, but they don't have the strongest squad. They're too James dependent. All this stuff that, that just kind of goes with being a Leon fan. We're the equipo incómodo, and they always want to shoot us down every chance they get. They never want to believe that our success is real. But, I mean, can we do anything to prove those doubters wrong? Can we, like Santos, we have Santos this weekend. They're the bottom of the table. They're trash. Can we go in there to their place and run them out of the gym? Can we do that? If we can, if it's another close match, like, I want us to be able to win in different ways. I want us to keep ironing out details. I want us to be a little bit more solid defensively, all this stuff. I want to see more stuff from this team. But at some point, you're just getting greedy because, we've been at the top of the table. We've been super líderes for how many consecutive match weeks now? I can't even remember. It's been like 5 or 6, it seems like, at least. So, I mean, are we just getting greedy? No, I mean, I don't think it's that. I think, we really know we got a shot with this team. This team has a shot to do great things, but they still have some details to iron out, and I'd really like to see them iron them out before the end of the season. Yes, you're leading the table, but I still want to see your best football at the end of the season, not now. I think that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Wow, that was quite a bit.
Yeah. Sorry, I got my piece out of the way. Now you guys can go ahead, and I could just be on mute.
No, that's all right. No, that was quite a bit to digest. But I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. We're not winning in spectacular fashion. Every victory seems to be coming down to the wire. Like every single one. There hasn't been one comfortable victory yet, and maybe hopefully Santos will be that victory because they're last place. But I don't think we've escaped having the label of Levanta Muertos yet. So we got to prove ourselves. We got to prove ourselves wrong on Sunday. Is it Sunday? Sunday's the game, right?
Yeah.
Sunday, yes.
Yeah. And it's a shame that Cari's not going to be there. But you were at the
It's a
last
shame
game,
that
so
Cari's
it's all
not going
good.
to be there.
I know. I would love to see that game because, for personal reasons. But
Yeah.
no, I was laughing when at the Xolos game when Carlos messaged the group about Levanta Muertos and all this. I'm like, no, don't say that. Especially like after the first half, I was just like, okay, come on, we have to close this game out. And yeah, I mean, it's I just love watching the games live. It just sucks when you don't know what's happening. So
Yeah.
grateful that Carlos is messaging us, like letting us know what's happening. Especially with like the offsides and all that stuff, and depending on where you are at on the Uxama, on the tribuna, you just don't have a good view. You just don't know.
No, and they don't tell you anything really.
No,
Unless
they
it's
don't.
a VAR review. I mean, they don't make any announcements on the field, which I understand that. That is my complaint about seeing so many matches live too. I mean, I'm not going to complain about seeing any match live, but I'd much rather be live always than ever than watching it on TV. But there is that element of it. But I don't know, that incertidumbre is also kind of, I don't know, it makes you feel a certain kind of way, and I can't really describe it. But I kind of, there's something about it that I also kind of like. But yeah, I mean, think about our last 4 opponents: Tigres, America, San Luis, and Xolos. I think out of those 4, we struggled most with Xolos and San Luis. We struggled more with them than we did with Tigres and America, which is kind of strange. Which is why I agree with you, Carlos, that our Levanta Muertos label isn't quite lifted yet. It didn't cost us. We won those matches. We won the matches. Yes, we won those matches. But man, it was more of a fight with those teams than it was with the teams that are actually going to be title contenders along with us. So
Yeah.
we haven't quite shaken the label yet.
I think in
This
that first
team,
half in Xolos. Go ahead, Carlos.
I was gonna say this team kind of reminds me of like the team that we had under Ambris, where like we were so good against our opponents that when we played like a mediocre team, we feel like we can just turn it on anytime we want to. That's how I felt with playing this last game, because we got scored on first
Yeah.
and we weren't looking that great. And as soon as we got scored on, like suddenly we started playing right. And I mean, you want to have the killer instinct and be out there and winning and giving it your all. I don't know. I feel like sometimes this team kind of just gets their foot off the gas and just kind of puts it into neutral. And I don't know. I mean, hopefully we don't get to see a lot of that going into the playoffs, but I don't know. That's probably the only bad thing I saw in this last game.
I think the only thing with that, Carlos, I think the other game was against America where we got scored on first, but we were able to come back at least with the draw. And then the Xolos game, we got scored on first, and we still had the garra to turn it around. So if anything, I think that shows that Leon's working on that. Especially in this half against Xolos, the first one, I was just like I was really confused why Cadiz didn't start to begin with. Um, and then that second half just made it 100% clear that Cadiz needs to start every single game. He's just so good at working the defense, having the ball, with his movement and stuff. And, it was just the direct, like, James to Cadiz, James, like, the same freaking play kept going on and on and on. And Cholos just were not clicking that in that second half.
Yeah. I think Cadiz's value has been made a lot clearer this season in terms of his abilities as a complete striker. Last season he got off to a hot start, and then at some point he stopped scoring, and people were like, the fans were like, well, this guy's completely fallen off a cliff. He's useless to us now. He's not scoring. And no, I mean, he's grown into Berizzo's system now, and you can really see what he brings. He's not an elite finisher like Boselli, or he's not that kind of striker. He's just he brings a lot more to the table, and you can just see how much more dangerous the attack is, like you said, when he's on the pitch compared to Edson Ayon, who I just don't know if it's going to happen with that kid. I still want to believe in him, but he's been given a lot of chances now, and yes, he does have his one golecito from a great pass from Edgar Guerra in Mazatlan. But aside from that, he's been given a lot of opportunities, partially, obviously, because we need to meet the requirement for juvenil minutes and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why he plays as much as he does. But he's been given a lot of opportunities, and he really hasn't capitalized them on a way that you like to see, because especially he came in and he had a lot of promise. And then Cadiz just comes in, and you just see, even if he doesn't score, he just affects the game so positively, like you say. And he and James have such a great chemistry. So I mean, hopefully as we get those minutes, I mean, we've got Sebastian Santos and Tadeo Estrada, who we should talk about. Those guys count for the juvenil minutes too, and they are actually very important pieces of the puzzle, I would say. Unlike Ayon, who is, he's just there to, you got to give Jonder a rest sometimes, I guess. They've been playing a lot of matches in a pretty short amount of time. But those guys are, yes, they complete the minutes requirement, but they're also big pieces. They're going to keep playing even when the minutes are long covered. Whereas Ayon, I don't know. We don't have any more doble jornadas that I can think of, and we're not playing Conca Champions or anything like that. So, I mean, I think it should be pretty close to a first choice 11 the rest of the way. At least I would hope it would be. Maybe part of Jonder not starting was that, it's only Xolos. If we need to, we can bring him in the second half, which obviously they did need to. But he doesn't have to play a full 90. Maybe it was something like that. I don't know. But, I mean, I would like to see first choice lineups as much as possible. I mean, there's other guys like Ivan Moreno. Where's Ivan Moreno been? I mean, he saved that Pachuca game for us, and now he's not always starting, and I think he's one of our best players. I don't know. So I hope to see him in the starting 11 more often than not down the stretch. I mean, I want to see a first choice 11 more often than not down the stretch. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we've got full week's rest going from here on out. So that's what I hope to see.
Look, we good. Shout out to Arturo. Said hello. Cadiz needs to clean up his finishing. We need a killer that's going to score goals. And at the end of the day, those chances we miss end up biting us at the end of the season. I think he makes I think what Louis was saying, he makes great presence and he does so much more, not just scoring goals, but sometimes the clear chances that he has, he needs to make them. Like he needs to make them.
I mean, okay, yes. Caveat though, I think he scored a great goal that should have stood.
Yeah,
the
of
other
course.
day.
Yeah.
With that was a really, really great finish, and that was not enough evidence to overturn, and that's not his fault. I mean, you want to be in a tight onside position. You don't want to, you don't want to give the defender too much opportunity to mark you. I mean, you want to be in a tight position like that. He did everything right, and for me, it was a good goal. And I don't think anyone could have said, other than the referee who called it off, that there was clear and incontrovertible evidence to the contrary to change the call on the field. So yes, I get what you're saying, but he's been a little bit unlucky on a couple of occasions. Also with drawing the PK that also got called off. I mean, I don't think he would have taken that PK. I think James would have, but still, he's been a little bit unlucky, and we gotta remember that. But you're right. Like I said, he's not a Boselli. He's not even a Viñas. He's not an elite finisher like that. That's not who he is, and we could use somebody like that to pair with him up front. The combination of those skill sets, elite finishing and great hold-up play, which is what Jonder has, would be lethal. I mean, if we had that now, I think that would clear a lot of people's doubts about how far this team can go, both this season and in the Mundial de Clubes, which we can also talk about because some news about that came out in the past couple days.
I think Arturo's Ioni's too focused on his lady. I mean, that's what women can do with these players.
That name sounds familiar. Who is that?
Who is Greta? Is she like an influencer or something? Oh.
No. She plays for Club Tigres. She's a soccer player. Tigres Femenil. Yeah, they're going out.
It's not the girl who scored that goal, right?
No, that was someone else.
That's Lisbeth Ovalle, which was a really, really crazy.
It was really good.
I saw that goal. That goal, that's insane.
I mean, I don't think she meant to do it, but yeah, it was great.
I mean, that was just like on point. I don't know if they were practicing it or something, because it was just beautiful, on point.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Great.
But wait, so Edson, Ion, and Greta, what's her name?
Espinosa.
Greta Espinosa. They're going steady.
I think they've been going out for like a while now or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he's probably just missing her. Bring her to León Femenil.
We need to play like we did against Toluca in the first half. Best León I've seen play this season.
I would absolutely agree with that. That was our best half of the season.
That was our best half. We made them look silly.
Yeah.
And
then we rested on our laurels and dropped 2 points.
I think what tends to happen, I can't remember how many games so far, but León in X amount of games has scored in the first, like very early on in the game. And I think mentally that's great. And I think at the same time, they kind of like tend to like sit back and just chill, like, okay, we scored, like, estamos bien, but it's like, no, that should not be the mentality, even though we get it early on goal, which is great for confidence and kind of like taking that game into our hands. But it should not be a chance to just like set in, like, okay, we got a goal in. Okay, we're superior. Like, no, that has, I think, been a determining factor in some of these games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about wanting to see them win in different ways.
Yeah.
Because the method of scoring within the first 5 minutes and then seeing out a 1-0 is not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not a sustainable way to win. There's way too much time left in the game to have that be your principal tactic. And I think, I feel like Berizzo, I think he's a very good coach. We wouldn't be, even with the great signings that we've made, we wouldn't be where we are without his planteamiento.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes he gets a little tentative and he gets a little bit too, not to lose-ish instead of playing to win. A little too conservative. And I want to see that evolve a little bit. I think there's greater heights we can still get to heading into Liguilla. And I want to see that. I just want to see I want to see us do some more stuff. I don't know.
I don't think this team has reached its ceiling yet. I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys, but like I think maybe we were actually. I take that back. I think we were close against Toluca. Like that was probably the best that we can see this team play.
Mhm.
But if we can do it consistently for at least one whole game, that would be amazing. That would be like our ceiling. But I don't know. I don't even think James has reached his ceiling yet. Like he's been playing phenomenal. You know, he's been, in my opinion, the MVP of the club, maybe even the league. But I don't think he's reached his ceiling yet. Like he's had chances to score goals that were like golazos, and
Yeah.
he hasn't hit the mark yet. He hasn't hit the mark yet. But imagine if he starts hitting the mark. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna be different. He's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could stand to be a little more dangerous in the run of play. I know he can be a little too unselfish. He wants to get his teammates involved. He obviously has a great relationship. I mean, the hum is just it's just aside from his play, it's just a great story. How he's come in and integrated, become part of a family. You know, I'm not gonna speak ill of other bomba signings that have been made in the league, but some of them just seem like hired gun signings to me. Whereas James has really, really integrated himself into the club, the culture of the club, and he's really part of a family. And I think that's as much a part of the story as his play. But in terms of his play, yeah, I mean, I think he makes every set piece that we have dangerous. Like every corner kick, every free kick within a certain reasonable range is dangerous now. When is the last? I mean, not since the prime days of Chapo Montes can we say that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
every
that's true.
set piece that we have is dangerous. That's because of him. If he can, but we know that he's not just a great free kick taker and a great corner kick taker, a great crosser. Like he can be really, really dangerous in the run of play of his own accord. I mean, he's a great. We're talking about the guy who was the leading scorer of a World Cup. I mean, the guy is an elite finisher in his own right, and he hasn't seemed to want to unlock that element of his game quite yet. But I'll say this: if needed, I think he would. Like if it's coming down to it, and like he needs to take the game over, because I mean, there are a few players in the league, there are a few players in the sport who are capable of taking over a game single-handedly. In terms of a Liga MX level, I mean, if there's one player who's capable of taking over a game of his own volition in Liga MX, I mean, I think that's James. And I think if it comes down to that, we get into a Liguilla situation. We need, we just need a goal to advance or whatever it might be. I mean, I think we might see him unlock another gear, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it might even happen in the regular season. I think you're right. I think we haven't seen everything that we can get from him. But I mean, that's crazy because what we've seen from him so far is amazing.
It is
Yeah.
amazing. Just such a great vision and puts really great balls in, and I'm just like, "Well, how can he do that?" And the way he was just, like, flicking off, like, the top of his foot, like, pass, I'm just like it's just seeing it, like, live, I'm just like, "This is so cool." Like, you see it on TV, but it's like seeing it live, it's like, "How does he do that?" And just so focused, and it just comes natural to him, like, such a great playmaker. Also
And
to
it's
mention,
just
like,
so
we had said
appropriate. Yeah.
like, Tadeo, like, watching
Oh
that
yeah.
replay on how
Oh
he,
yeah.
like, rolls that ball and, like, just so much appreciation for that kid, like,
Oh,
wow.
that reminded me. That was an elite striker's finish. That reminded me of a Boselli type finish. Like he juked a couple of defenders. I mean, he's a contención. No, I mean
Yeah.
he's I mean at the very least a box to box midfielder. You don't have him in there for his offensive qualities really, but I mean he showed you that he's got some of that in his toolbox. You know.
That kid should be our first exported player. If we can get his
Yeah.
card, because isn't he on loan? I think he's on loan, right?
I'm
I
not
think he's on loan
sure.
from Pachuca.
I mean, if he's on loan from Pachuca, I don't think that tramite will be too hard to work
Yeah,
out.
that's the good thing. That's the good thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, man, that kid's spectacular. Like, uh, man, I told some friends in our Twitter chat. I was like, this guy's better than Fidel, like for sure. And it's not even
100%, I'm
close.
just like, "Be that who?" I forgot about him. Like, I
It's not
really
even
I
close.
did.
mean,
Like,
It's not even
I
funny.
mean, Fidel. Let's not disrespect our man Fidel.
yeah,
He
Nah,
let's
he
not disrespect him.
disrespected us, that's the
he
thing.
Do you
did
think he
disrespect
disrespected
us.
us? Wait,
Huh?
Well,
how?
He went to
How did he
I don't.
Monterrey.
disrespect
He
us?
quit on us.
Mm,
Mm,
I don't know if that was his call.
I don't. I just think he wanted to change his scenery, and the European offer wasn't there. So this was the next best thing. I mean, he said himself the Monterrey move wouldn't have happened if it wasn't something that he wanted. But I think that was just to say he wanted to change the scenery. The move to Europe that he was hunting for wasn't there yet, and he thought maybe with Monterrey that he would have that opportunity. Maybe he will. I mean, if he
But
gets
he's not
moved to
even
a
playing that much, though. That's the thing.
yes,
Like,
I
he
Yeah.
mean
didn't go over
that's the
there to be
thing.
a starting player and be like, "Oh my god, like, man, like Leon's really missing out on Fidel because he's like ripping it with Monterrey." Like, he comes in
Yeah,
as
I
a
mean
on a sub.
we know something about having young stars who don't necessarily have the right people whispering in their ear about what their best next move
Yes.
is.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about specifically. He
Yes, el
wasn't technically
indiscutible.
our he wasn't technically our player. We did not own his card, but you
Mhm.
know who I'm talking about. And I think maybe Fidel had a little bit of that. He probably had somebody telling him, if you go to Monterrey, you'll have the same role that you have in León, but you'll get a lot more exposure. And he probably believed it, and it's just obviously not
Yeah.
been the case. But I think he, along with the other unmentionable, were the two most valuable players of the Conca Champions 23 title run. So I mean, I gotta give that, and I'll always thank him for that.
Who's the other
And
unmentionable?
it wasn't the right decision,
JJ.
maybe, but we've got an excellent replacement
No?
for him, a more versatile replacement for him. Yeah, I mean, Fidel was. I mean, his best contribution to the offense were his shots from distance, which maybe
Or are
Tadeo
you
doesn't have
talking
that in
about
his arsenal.
Davila? Sorry.
But
Are you talking about Davila?
what do you mean? Who?
The
When
other,
you
you
said
said the
the
other unmentionable.
Uh, no. Well, I was talking about Macias,
yeah, okay,
about
that's what I
players who
thought,
didn't
yeah.
have the
Got it. Okay.
who didn't
I
have
thought
who
so.
didn't have the right who didn't have the right people whispering in their ears. You didn't, young impressionable players who like listen to whatever they're told. And someone told Macias like what he should go back to Chivas, and that would be and obviously that was a complete and utter disaster. And
Yep.
Fidel had someone telling him that if you went to Monterrey, that would be the best move. And obviously, so far it hasn't been, and maybe never will be. But I mean, we'll always have those uh,
Yeah.
those long distance goals against Toluca and against Tigres, a couple times against Tigres. Oh, and against Santos, of course,
And I guess
in the
Santos. Yep.
against Santos in the play-in game. Yeah,
Yeah. His form
yeah,
wasn't that great when like his last 5 or 6 months. So
yeah.
he
Mhm.
was on the decline. So
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's business. And at the end of the day, I think it's all business because Rayados is offering you $8 million for a kid who's he maybe he already hit his ceiling and his
Hmm.
game was on the decline. And if that's on the table and somebody's offering you that much money, like that's where you pull the trigger. I think the only other offer we had was from Europe, and I can't pronounce the club's name.
Was it a Belgian club or
Anderlecht.
something? Anderlecht.
Anderlecht? Anderlecht?
Anderlecht.
Anderlecht. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they offered like 1.5 for him. And so, El Tres is not going to let him go for 1.5 when you have an $8 million offer
But I
from
think
Yeah.
the $8 million
Rayados.
tag is so overrated with these players in Mexico. Like, it really is. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, it's just so frustrating with like Mexican football regarding to
Oh,
Mexican
absolutely.
players and the exportation and the price tags that these clubs set.
Yeah.
That he's not worth 8 million. Like, he's not for Monterrey. Okay, like you said, Carlos. Like, we got our
No,
money, but was he really worth 8 mil? No,
No.
he was
No.
worth like
Well,
2.
well, for his
in
for
a
his age,
vacuum,
maybe,
in a
because you're
vacuum,
betting
he's
on the
not worth
future.
that. Yeah. In a vacuum, he's not worth 8 million, but at some point, a player's worth
At
whatever
some
someone's willing
point,
to pay for him. At some point, a player's worth whatever a club is willing to pay for him. They were willing to pay
but
us eight
in
million.
that
Also,
aspect,
I believe
in
we
that
also got a
aspect,
percentage of his sell-on rights. So if he does,
okay.
if he does,
Did we?
if he does flourish in Monterrey and they sell him on, Leon will get a portion of that as well.
But how much CSMA for Monterrey to get back some of their money? If they bought Fidel for 8, how much are they? How much is his price tag now to sell to a club to be able to make some money back? Like, I just
Yeah,
don't
you're
see
right.
it's
I mean,
profitable. Like, I think it's ridiculous.
there aren't a
Y
ton of
ahorita como no
European
están
clubs.
jugando, like I bet you Elias Montiel from Pachuca is worth way more in Gilberto Mora than what Fidel has done now,
Yeah.
and what his price
True.
tag should be versus what it was when Monterrey purchased him or wanted him so
True.
much.
That's true. I
True.
agree.
But, you know, we got our money,
It's ridiculous. Like I know it's just ridiculous. The crazy amounts of
Yeah,
money
I
for
mean-
these like players.
I
Yeah,
mean, we
I
got our
don't.
money,
You're right. I
you
don't know. I don't know who in Europe is going to pay more than $8 million for him now.
Unless he becomes like crazy good and
MLS
like the
club.
MVP of the league. Yeah, unless he becomes
I
crazy.
mean, yeah. I mean,
crazy
an MLS
good.
club, might, you know, pay that. San Diego FC, and I think they still have a designated player spot open, and they really want to steal away fans from Xolos. They want to get the Mexicanos in the area really into the club. I mean, that was the whole reason behind the Chucky Lozano signing. So, you know, maybe a club like that would pay an exorbitant amount of money for him. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, anyone at the end of the day, anyone paying that much money for these players is betting on the future. They're not betting on right now. You know, right now maybe you're good to be a titular and on the team, but they're thinking 5 or 6 years from now. Like, who are you going to become? Are you going to become that like solid veteran player that's like worth a lot of money, you know, and maybe they can deal you or maybe they can use you on their team.
But how old
You
is
know, and bring
Fidel? Like, for example, he's 21, right? So at what
21.
point is he hitting his prime? At like in Liga MX,
He's still only
like what,
21.
25?
He's
Yeah, he's
21.
21. Yeah, he's 21.
And you know, and Tadeo is 22. So it's like there's not that much difference there. Like, you know, if Fidel is worth 8 million, Tadeo's worth 10 in my opinion.
Hmm.
I hope we don't sell him for 10. I hope we sell him for something cheaper and he gets to go play in Europe or something. But you know, considering the scale of the market, you know, I
Yeah.
think he's worth a little more than Fidel.
I just think it's Tadeo is just more technical in that aspect.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean that goal he
he's a more
scored
well-rounded.
is not something Fidel would be capable of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a great play in general. Props to Adonis Frias for the run up too. Yeah,
That was great. It was
Adonis
great seeing him
Frias. I
back.
mean, welcome back, Adonis. I mean, I know he's a little fragile. He's always got something going on, but man, when he is available, he's such a difference maker.
Oh, and
Yeah.
let me mention Barreiro, man. That man
Oh, yeah.
is amazing. Has started all the games and has just been fantastic. Like
Put
fantastic.
some respect on his name.
Mm-hmm.
Put some respect
only
on
one-
his name.
I think the only one who's played every single available minute on the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started every game.
Every game.
But man, I mean, you
Well,
look at
started
the
every
guy's
game and played
career,
90 minutes.
Like,
Yeah.
you look at the guy's career trajectory. Like, he comes to Atlas, he's complete garbage, he's trash, and then we bring him over here from Atlas. I think Nacho Ambriz was the one that brought him,
I think so.
and he plays under Tecillo and Mosquera, right? Two Colombians. And he learns. I mean, he learns from the best. You know, Tecillo was like our number one defender. He's probably the number one defender in the league at some point. So he learned from the best, and now he's potentially going to end up in La Selección Colombiana. Like, what a story for this guy! Like, talk about resiliency in a player coming from like being so garbage. Like our fans used to boo him. Our fans used to boo him.
I
We
know,
didn't
that
like
was so
him.
sad.
And now it's like he's not start. Like, if he doesn't start, we're gonna be like, what? Like, why is he not starting? So great story. Great story.
Good old
For sure.
Barreiro. Okay, guys, let's talk about the Club World Cup with the news we were commenting on our chat because I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea at all. And like I told you guys, and to anybody listening, I don't like the
First,
idea of being able to sign
explain what
players.
it is. Explain what it is first, and then say what you have against it.
Do you want to explain, Louis, since you had
Okay.
a message? Yeah.
Yeah. So the news came out yesterday that akin to Copa Libertadores of years past, participating clubs in the upcoming edition of the Club World Cup will have an opportunity to make up to 6 additional signings for their roster to participate exclusively in the Club World Cup tournament. The rules, as they were presented, are not particularly detailed. I have it on good authority. Shout out to Paco Vela, our dear friend of the pod, that no club will be allowed to make more than 2 signings of those 6 from their own league. But 6 additional signings, 2 from your own league, 4 from anywhere else in the world that you want, where you can scrounge somebody up to add to your existing roster for the Club World Cup tournament. And when you describe it, when you put it out on the table like that, it's a pretty crazy concept, I would say. I have my thoughts on it, but you, Cuddy, you already said you're not a fan. So explain to us why.
I don't like it. I think it's a disrespect to some of the players that have been with the team and that have been looking forward to the Club World Cup. I think it's just a way to like the transfer window was already there and you got the players that you wanted. And I think me personally with Leon, I think están bien entre ellos mismos, you know what I mean? And I think it would just be unfair for someone else to come and take a position up for someone who has been
Yes.
thinking of the Club World Cup like as their goal. A Sebastian Santos, a Tadeo. You know what I mean? It's like that's their goal for them to go to the Club World Cup, and for it to be easily taken by, some other replacement with more. It's like le estás quitando algo a ellos. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like I said, somos los que somos y estamos los que estamos, and yo me voy a muerte con este equipo for the Club World Cup and go as far as they can, because I think what they've proven is that they do have great talent. They work really well together. And also just bringing in a couple other players, it's not guaranteeing that they're going to quickly mesh up well también. And I just think
That's true.
Yeah.
it's just a disrespect. I just think that. And if someone comes and nos aporta algo and it's effect, great. I think my mind right now, and it could change, is I'm good with the team that we have. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. So here's my brief, not even really rebuttal, because I agree with a lot of that to it. So regardless of anything, you can't expect to have a good performance in the Mundial de Clubes unless you have a good regular season. The regular season leading up to that has to be good. If you're not playing well in your league season leading up to this tournament, you can't really expect to have a good tournament. Well, how do you have a good league season? Well, you develop a good chemistry and a good flow with the roster that you already have, which is what they've been doing. So I understand the idea of, no, I'd rather put my money on the team we have now. They're the ones who are doing what they're doing. They're the ones having this great league season. They're the ones building this chemistry and this culture. And there's absolutely no guarantee that shoehorning in 6 new players we don't even know how much time they're going to have to train and learn a system, up to 6 new players right before this new tournament. There's no guarantee. Even if you bring in both Messi and Ronaldo, there's no guarantee like that is going to give you a better chance to win a tournament over sticking with the culture and the chemistry that you've been building over a number of months. I definitely agree with that part of it. But on the other hand, it's just so much fun to think about like the players that we could add to this mix. I mean, this mix that we have is already very, very, very good. And just the chatter that has come about over, oh my God, we could get Paulinho, we could get Hidalgo, we could get, all these Liga MX players that we talk about primarily, let alone everywhere else in the world. But all these Liga MX players and other squads that are not involved in the Club World Cup that we could just poach for a few weeks, and they could wear a León jersey for a few weeks, and we could just have a super team basically for a few weeks. I'll say this: 6 signings is too many. You're talking about more than half of a starting 11 potentially that you could shoehorn in. I don't think that's healthy, and I also don't think many clubs are going to make all 6 signings. That just seems a little extravagant. I'd put a good number around 3 because I see the way we're playing, and I love the way we're playing, but I still see some areas that we could shore up, and I think bringing in 3 players is a good healthy number that does not disrupt chemistry too much, provides us with some depth, and in certain positions could provide us with somebody, someone at an elite position where we don't have somebody at an elite position currently. So I think the chatter surrounding it and the possibilities, the limitless possibilities of like who could join our squad, is entertaining enough chatter that I kind of like the rule, and I kind of want to see where they go with it. But I wholeheartedly agree. I don't want to see too many changes. I don't want to see six guys brought in, completely shake up the starting lineup, completely ruin what we're building. Because I don't think no matter who those players are, that would not be a healthy and organic way to go into the Club World Cup with the best chance to make a good run.
Yeah. Now, for the record, they're not signings, right? They're just loans.
They're just
right.
temporary for that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Carlos?
I mean, listen.
You're in the middle of this, literally, so you gotta tell us what you think.
Oh, okay.
In the middle of
I mean, I'm looking at the current roster, and I go, well, I don't know if Ayon is ready to play against Chelsea, and I'd rather have Paulinho come in off the bench. Like, we'll give Cadiz the start because he deserves it. He's been on this team, but I'm
or
like,
play them together though.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I mean,
man,
you get
Paulinho.
You get Paulinho in the mix, Carlos. You play those fools together.
Yeah. Same thing with like Gotti mentioned, Santos, and I'm like, wait, is it Santos? Yeah, Santos. Yes, he's been starting in league play. Yes, he's been racking up those minutes, probably because we need those, those youth minutes, right? We can't fall short, otherwise it's -3 points. But I don't know if I want him to start against Chelsea. I don't know if I want him to start against
Sebastian
Flamengo.
Santos has been doing well.
He's been doing well, but against our, league competition, you're going to throw him into the fire against Chelsea?
But that's the thing with, like, I think the mentality with Liga MX is that los jóvenes, lo que dicen en la tele, like, oh, los jóvenes. I'm like, he's 25. Like, he should already be, like, in his, up on his prime, right? It's like the players, European teams, like, those kids are, like, pushing through 17, 18, 19. They're hitting their prime, right? So it's unfortunate that in Liga MX, these kids, like, get to that point way later, you know what I mean, in their careers. And I think it would suck for him to not get to play and have that.
I'm not saying don't get to play. I'm saying, like, I wouldn't start him. Against Chelsea because it's a completely different, like, son dos niveles, they're completely different. And it's his first international tournament. He didn't even play the Conca Champions. He didn't get 1 minute. And first international tournament, and you're going to say, hey, we're playing Chelsea and Flamengo. Here you go. Good luck. I'd rather take my chances with, like, Moreno as a right back because he has that international tournament experience. So,
but you would still keep, like, if you don't play Santos, you'd throw in Moreno versus getting someone else. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I wouldn't start him. I'd give him minutes, obviously, especially against the third team. Who's the third team that we play? It's like some random team. Like, I would start him in that game for sure. But I don't know if I would. I mean, Chelsea, dude, like, va a ser una avenida, like that his whole, like, that whole banda is gonna be una avenida. Like, we've seen it happen with him in Liga MX play.
Yeah, I'll give you a hypothetical. We're playing Chelsea, and your options are to start Sebastian Santos or to start Juan Cuadrado. I mean, who are you gonna go with in that situation?
Well, how old is Cuadrado?
I'm not talking about that right now. I mean, if we're
calling... are though, because we need to see, like, where his, you know what I mean. I'm not disregarding, like, obviously, he plays with James and blah blah, but it's like, are we gonna get the Cuadrado we're expecting at that point in time?
Are we gonna get the Sergio Ramos that we're expecting? I hate to bring him up, but I mean,
but we're not talking about Ramos. We're not talking about Rayados.
No.
Business. We're talking about León.
No.
Right? We're talking about like the León in this Club World Cup, right? And we're talking about what we need, and what we have, right?
No, I only bring it up because I'm willing to bet we'll get the same Cuadrado that Rayos is getting out of Ramos. That's the only reason I make that comparison.
I had a thought and it just went away. No, I had a thought I was gonna say. It was about what Carlos was talking about.
About Santos.
No, I don't remember. Um,
Cuadrado?
no, I
That
think it
might. I
was
mean, that might actually happen. I mean, that might actually
Yeah.
happen. Like James can use his connections to like bring somebody in. Another big name. I mean, I wouldn't count that out. Like it could happen.
Yeah.
also we have to take in consideration the Club World Cup are against the 16th. Copa Oro starts around the same dates. And just any
But
other.
it was Javier Aguirre already said that he wouldn't call up anyone from León
Oh
Yeah.
no, no, no,
for.
I'm not just
Yeah.
saying about Mexico and Leon, but like if there
Yeah.
was any other players that Leon was going after who participate in the in the Copa Oro, or I don't know if internationally if any other teams have any other tournament besides Club Cup, Copa Oro. I don't know. I
I
don't know
don't
if
think
they.
so.
No,
No,
I think that's it.
that's it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Maybe I'll be open to it later on. And I think maybe what you were saying about Edson Ion, I think what about Gambino from Necaxa? I take him,
Yeah.
Camino.
Yeah.
Oof.
That'd be an
Yeah.
interesting one.
you know.
Yeah.
I think it sucks because like we don't have Viñas. So if we had Viñas and Cadiz, like we're good. But obviously we have Cadiz and Edson, and Edson, poor guy, he hustles, but he's just not making the cut. So I think in that aspect, I would be open to getting a Liga MX player like Camino or
I
Paulinho.
like
I
that.
just
I like that idea, Cuddy. I like that one.
I
And
think
and
what
you know
makes
we
me
can.
mad, sorry, I think what
Yeah.
makes me mad is the Chivas in America, like, oh, throwing in those players. And I think it's like, no, I don't want that. It's like we as Leon and Pachuca and Monterrey are on the Club World Cup. And I think it's just an opportunity to like for them to push their Chivas and their Tigres and their America players onto playing with Leon. And I would not agree with that. I just don't like it. I don't like that idea.
No,
Same.
but Cambindo, and then hey Cambindo, you don't have to go back to Necaxa after this if you don't want. We can, we can just buy you, and then you can play with James. Imagine the service you're gonna get. You'll be the campeón de goleo caminando. You know.
Didn't they just buy him from like officially buy him from Cruz Azul? Yeah.
But they can sell him again. That's what Necaxa does. They're a selling club.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a
That's true.
buying and
That's
selling
true.
club.
I
Yeah.
think in that
I mean, I
aspect, in the
see.
striker position, I would be open to those two Liga MX from
Yeah. I
Toluca and
see.
from
I
Necaxa.
see Camino happening more likely than Paulinho, just because Paulinho is more of a bigger name, more expensive player, more important club. I think Camino might be the more accessible player,
Mm,
in my opinion.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'd be open to that
Yeah. What
as
other player
well.
though? So it's only because
Hmm.
it's two from the league, right? It's two players from the
Mm-hmm.
league.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
my understanding. Yes.
So, would you guys want to bring in a goalie, a keeper?
No,
Mm,
you
No,
know
you
why?
think that
At
you think that the
principio,
two guys.
yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think at principio, I was really annoyed, and I think I said it on the pod about like us not scoping out for a goalie for Club World Cup. Um, I think it's interesting what Berizzo has done with alternating them, and I think they've both done really well. And if anything, I think Poncho Blanco has been the best goalie in Liga MX this season. Whether people want to accept it or not, he
In the
has.
league?
Yes, in the league. So
Wow.
I'm good, and I think I'm good. But you guys can
Wow.
say otherwise, and
mm,
your opinion,
m-
what you guys think
eh,
about that.
best in like what criteria? Like in terms of most impactful, in terms of contributing to positive results, or statistically, or because I don't think statistically he has
Statistically,
been. You think so?
yeah.
Hmm.
I got Tom backing me up with this.
All right. All right. Well, he is
Interesting.
the statistics king.
But okay, if you
Over
guys want another
over
goalie,
Acevedo?
who would you get? Oh, come on. I would not. Even if they were giving us Seville for free, I would not take him. I'd be like, nope, go back. We
Who
don't
would you
need you.
get?
He's a terrible goalie. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Who would
as
you
like a
guys
third.
want if you had the opportunity?
Just
I
from
mean,
Liga
it would have
MX?
to be a third keeper, right?
Would that be still Louis with Liga MX, or could that
I think
be?
so. I think it's just two players currently contracted to Liga MX rosters.
Mm,
I don't think, regardless of position. Maybe there's a I don't know, like an exception made for goalkeepers. I don't know, but
mm.
I don't think so. Um,
Maybe,
so if you're just
yeah,
talking
maybe
about Liga MX goalkeepers, I mean,
Camilo
man,
Vargas,
It is
Camilo
the
Colombia.
Colombian.
Vargas, yeah, the Colombian connection.
Yeah,
Mm,
I mean, I like Necaxa's Unsign. He's not
yeah,
bad.
Oscar Unsain.
speaking of the rotations that we've been doing in goalie, I mean, what do you guys think about it? I think it's been, me personally, I think it's been like good competition, like to keep both players like in form. But I feel like when it's time to come into a conclusion and it's time to make a decision about who's going to be the starter, right? The titular. And then that goalie messes up, we're going to all be like, oh, we should have kept the other guy, whoever it is. Like, we're going to like hit, like, it's going to, all the criticism and the comments are going to rain down on the chosen one. And I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure when whoever gets chosen. There's going to be a ton of pressure on that guy to perform, because if you don't perform, because they're both doing such a great job, that we're all gonna be like, why didn't they choose the other guy? Like, why
I
do we
think
have to
that
go with this guy?
position is difficult, but I do agree they both have done really well. I would just give a bit more brownie points to Poncho Blanco. And I would,
Yeah.
I think last season, like we were all like really frustrated with him. I think just the mistakes he would do, he was just like not great
Yeah,
overall. But this season, I think between him and Oscar, they've done both well. But I think I would incline for Poncho as of right now.
man. I mean, statistically, well, not statistically, but when it comes to when it comes to your once ideal of the week, Jimenez was on this week's, and Poncho Blanco has never been on one.
I mean, I didn't think of that stuff. Maybe because I never look
So
at the Once Ideal, to be honest.
yeah,
Maybe I
he
start
was
looking at
worthy
that.
of once ideal. I mean, he had a great performance on Saturday.
He did.
Oscar Jimenez.
He
Like,
did.
I don't know. Like, I feel like it's neck and neck. I feel like, forget the analytics. Just tell me how you feel about like seeing this guy start. Like, when you see him in the starting 11, how do you feel? Do you feel
She
like
can't forget the
the goalie
analytics.
is
She's
secure?
surrounded by the analytics.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's what's interesting about Berizzo. I don't think I've ever seen a coach rotate so many times. You know what I mean? That
Yep.
it's like, oh, I wonder who's playing today. Oh, okay, he did well, and then next week, like, it's tough. I think
Well,
I think it will be a tough decision.
especially not in league matches. I mean, when we were playing Copa MX and stuff like that, sure, but
Yeah,
every other league match, that is unusual.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very
I don't know,
unusual.
but I think when it's time to choose one, it's going to be a lot of pressure. It's going to be a ton of pressure.
Too bad we can't get Courtois.
That's who.
Maybe we can't. No, we can't.
Not Louis being like, maybe we can. Louis just like
No, we
any
can't because
player you want, Daddy. Any
Real
player.
Madrid is in the Club World Cup.
Oh, damn it.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
that's
right. You're
true.
right.
That's true.
Mm, I don't know. I think with goalies, we
I
have
don't
to like
know.
really look back and think like who would be available and attainable in that case.
Okay, serious question, Cuddy. If Leon plays Real Madrid in the Club World Cup, you're going for Leon, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Just checking.
Just checking.
Of course. I mean, I have been to Bernabeu, which is amazing, but
Yeah.
being there on Saturday, like I told Tom, like just walking, like seeing everybody like cross the street, like around the stadium with their jerseys, and like it just gives me butterflies. It's just like a fucking ambiente. Sorry for my cussing. That's the first time I cuss on here.
We can
Please.
get one in there in honor of our friend Javi,
In honor of Javi.
who always struggled not
That
to
was
curse on
Javi.
this podcast. Yeah, that was Javi. You were channeling Javi there.
That was
Yeah.
Javi. Yeah, for those listening, we had a no cussing rule, and I know for Javi it was really hard, but he did so well with not cussing. So that was in honor of Javi. But yeah, I mean, just el ambiente is amazing. You get in there and it's just everything while like people, coming through, you have to move and like the cerveza, I have to pass it on and pass the money. It's just like freaking ambiente and el estadio. So that was really, really great. And Louis, like 25,000 people. And it's just like,
Yeah.
you just felt
Well, it's
it.
been
It's
like
so amazing.
that every match this season. I mean, the afición has
Yeah.
done its part. They have responded. And it truly is mostly León fans, even when it's been Chivas, even when it's been Tigres, even when it's been these clubs that are a big draw for the opponent. It's mostly been León fans. That's been
It's
great
just
to
the
see.
noise, and that's why Carlos was like, that noise, you can hear it on TV, and I'm just like, it's crazy because it's so loud in here.
Yes. I think who was it? Paco Montes. Somebody posted a video of like the crowd actually like chanting, and I was like mind blown. Like, oh my god, I haven't seen this before. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen that, and I don't know. It's just it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Like,
Yeah.
that's really where we're at right now.
Yeah.
As a club.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's wrap it up. Obviously, our game against Santos, Los Muertos de Muertos, who are in last place. And we are away. So, any thoughts on what you guys think about this game?
Yeah, no levanta muertos crap going on. That's what we want.
I'll be really pissed if that ends up happening.
Yeah, we don't want to drop a single point up there. No way, no how, no funny business. Just go up there and take care of a terrible team. It's not like it's a place that we've had trouble winning in recent years, and we've gotten some good results there in past. It's not one of those places where Leon like never wins. There are some places like that, but Santos is not one of them, and especially not with this version of Santos. I will be there. I'll be making the long, uncomfortable trip up to Torreon. I'll be there, and I want to see a comfortable win. Let's maybe get like a 3-0 or something. In fact, I know we haven't gotten to prediction time yet, but I'll adelantar mi prediction, and it'll be a 3-0.
Wow.
Hey. That's a good one. What about you, Carlos?
Man, everybody's well rested. We're traveling. I don't even think we're gonna start all of our like good players. I think this might be one of those like, yeah, I think this is one of those like games that like kind of like we played against Mazatlan, where like you have Edgar Guerra starting and like Ayon maybe. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with like a 2-0 for this one. I don't think it'll be that high scoring, but I think it'll be a pretty dominant win. And also on that note, there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I'd rather lose to this team or that team. Like looking forward, like cuando se va a acabar el invicto? It's like, no, stop thinking like that. Like, why can't we just win every game? Let's just win all of them. It's like, no, I think I'd rather lose to Necaxa. It's like, no, let's just beat them. Let's beat all the teams.
That will be an interesting game just because Larcamon's Necaxa has been really, really like great. So
they've been good.
It's a Friday match.
Great. I don't know about great, but they've been pretty good.
I mean, this Larcamon effect on Necaxa has been really good. I mean, that game Friday night will be a tough one. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Necaxa's at home. And obviously the people están creyendo, so it'll be I'm sure they'll have fans. I'm sure our fans will be there.
I did see a post from Necaxa today that that match is sold out.
I did see that.
But we always turn their their place green. So
True.
A lot of
our fans
a
always
lot of
show
that
up.
sellout will be Leon fans. I am certain of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Carlos. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule and I'm like, why? When do people think we're gonna lose?
Yeah, we already played all the big teams. I mean, maybe
Like,
Well,
Rayados.
we've got Monterrey, we've got Cruz Azul left, and we've got
Yeah,
Necaxa. Those are going to be the three toughest matches for sure.
I mean, we play
yeah.
Pumas, which we play at home, and just because we'll see what this Pumas looks now with Efrain Juarez in terms of league. But yeah, after so it's Santos, Necaxa, Pumas. We're away at Querétaro. I'll be mad if we lose that, or the Puebla one after that, and then Cruz Azul, and then Monterrey is our last match of the season. So
Yeah.
April
Wait, so
20th.
what was your prediction?
Oh, my prediction. I want to leave Santos like scoreless, like, but I think it's the I can't remember. I always butcher his name. The forward who's been scoring lately. I think he's gonna go get a goal. Batichano, what's his name? He's a striker for
uh,
Santos. He's a new. He's been
Mm,
scoring lately. I think he'll get
hmm,
a goal, unfortunately. So I think I'm gonna go with a 3-1.
mm.
3-1
3-1.
Leon.
Okay,
Hopefully,
nice.
muchos goles, so Louis can celebrate in my honor there
Yeah,
Torreón.
in Torreon.
in the great city of Torreon.
The deserts. Oh, the
I've heard of how
deserts.
great it is out there.
Yeah,
It's great. It's just it has its good and its bad. I think with like every place. So that's the desert for you.
yeah.
But
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite destination in Liga MX, but I don't mind it.
Mm.
I guess one more thing to mention was obviously the news that came out with what happened with Nico Fonseca, which I was really
Ah,
pissed. I
Yeah.
was
yes.
super pissed because I was just like, he's been so like doing so well with us. I don't want him to leave. I don't want this to like, mess him up mentally and. So I
Well,
think the
even beyond
response,
that, like get into the heads of the rest of the team, of his teammates, like thinking they're not safe.
yeah.
Wanting to leave the club, heaven forbid.
I
But
think
I
it was
mean,
a
I think
weird
Yeah.
like situation because they just took his card, like they didn't take his phone or anything else. So it's kind of like
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they
It's
took
a
his
bit
car and then
weird.
they abandoned his car. It was a very very strange thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very strange thing. I
Yeah.
think you guys see his
Um,
dad interviewed.
Yeah.
did they? I
Yeah,
didn't
they
watch
interviewed
that.
his dad. I think I saw it yesterday, and obviously he had said it, what happened, and that now every time he goes out, obviously he has two cop
Oh,
cars
yeah, yeah, I
with
remember
him
that.
at all times and stuff, which sucks. But he's committed to the team. He likes it. He likes the team he's at. He likes the players. He likes like his family. So I think that
Yeah.
was comforting to know um, that he's still, you know, committed and dedicated to the team
Yeah.
because he's done
And it
very
says a
well.
lot. It says a lot that he actually played Saturday night because I heard that the coach gave him the option not to play, and he played.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's fine. It's all right.
No, and I don't know if you saw our old friend Fernando Navarro tweeting about the situation. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was
I
like
didn't see
saying,
it.
"Uh, I don't know how much he's tweeted back then, how far you're gonna have to dig to find
I
that
I saw a
thread."
little bit. I saw a little
Yeah, he was like saying, "Oh, this
bit.
is gonna be." I don't. He wasn't saying it like this exactly, but like, no, this could be the downfall of the team. If you think you're crazy and naive, if you think this isn't going to greatly affect the animo and the culture of the team, this is going to completely destroy them and break them up, and people were just completely shooting him down.
It's so
And obviously,
unnecessary.
it didn't
So
happen. I mean,
unnecessary.
obviously, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of a little bit of a bitter individual, and his exit from the club
Mhm.
was in his final
Mhm.
seasons
Yeah.
with the club
Mhm.
were certainly not the greatest. I think he was also on the call for Fox Deportes on Tubi, I think, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. I didn't
Yep.
watch it because I was there, but I
Yeah.
think he was on the call. He was doing color commentary for the broadcast on Tubi, and so like I don't know. I think he was just trying to drum up some drama. But I mean, obviously, his exit from the club was not the most healthy, and I think he's got no love lost for Leon, and I think he was just trying to stir up drama where there was none.
Yeah, he needs a job. I think he's trying to get a
Yeah.
job. Like, hey guys,
Yeah.
I can talk drama too. Like, hire me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
annoying. I do like when I watch Tldp, I do like Nacho Gonzalez when he's calling the games. I like his commentary. Yesterday I was watching who was playing yesterday? It was the Pumas. 'Cause they try and get like if there's the CONCACAF Champions Cup is on Tubi here. So yesterday they had Israel Castro, who played for Pumas X amount of time ago, commenting. The dullest person I've ever heard calling a game, and I'm just like, this is so boring. Like they need to like get these ex players who are commenting on these games to like have a little practice or just be a little more enthusiastic, And I think Nacho Gonzalez, I do like hearing him. I have heard Navarro on the calls before, but I do like Nacho Gonzalez on calls, to be honest. But yeah,
Indeed.
okay,
The
guys.
eterno leyenda.
I think it's a wrap. Thank you, Arturo, for your comments. Really appreciate them. And yeah, I think that is it. Que siga nuestro invicto.
We had issues streaming to YouTube today. Unfortunately, the stream didn't show up on YouTube, but we did share the stream here directly on the platform. So few people showed up.
No, you can post it to YouTube later, can't you?
Yes. We can post the video to YouTube, so
Yeah,
it'll go up after once we finish.
Okay. That way we
And
can
we'll also be
share
on Spotify
the intro.
and we'll be on Apple.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us this episode. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode and obviously had to listen to our intro with our beloved Javi who left us, and we shared some moments and some words at the beginning of the podcast. If you haven't heard, you can go back and listen. And like we said, we'll be mentioning him throughout the pods from here on out with anything that we can remember or bring back old episode clips and stuff, because that was always fun.
yeah.
But yeah, anything else, guys? We good?
We're good. Good to go.
Awesome.
Let's keep winning.
Let's keep winning. Yes.
Let's go watch some CONCACAF football.
I started watching the Chivas America. Is that over?
Oh, it's about to be.
Like
Yeah,
they
it's
had
already
an
over.
own goal. Anyways, okay, guys, we'll go ahead and let you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and catch us next week on another episode of the Lions Den Podcast. Awesome.
Done. Wait, don't close your windows. Don't close your windows until it uploads.
Mine's
Louis,
done.
don't go anywhere.